Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my daily digital nomad live stream. I'm Kristin. You're watching Traveling with Kristin, and I'm a few minutes late as usual. I'm too ambitious with my schedules every day. I just popped over from my Facebook group live stream. We do a live stream in there every Sunday. Hi, Tech Lords. Welcome back. We missed you yesterday. Yes, oh my goodness, it's cold. We're in Amsterdam, so it's obviously freezing. I just came over from my Sunday live stream in my group. It's called Long-Term Digital Nomad Success. And yeah, we like them over there. But it's just once a week, but sometimes goes a little bit longer than scheduled, which also happens here all the time. But that's because there's so much to talk about. There's so many digital nomad topics and remote work topics to talk about, and it's just fun to talk to you guys. So that's what happens. We will just go as long as needed. So is there anything you guys want to talk about today? I'll just give you a recap of what I'm doing here. I just came back from France. As you guys probably saw, I was in France for 2 weeks. It was very fun, but it is back to work and back to normal life being the traveling remote work lifestyle. And that's what we're here to help everybody do. Anyone who wants to work remotely, you're in the right place. So this week, I am in Amsterdam, which is also, as you guys know, one of my favorite cities. And actually, I got a message from one of the companies that I featured in my Amsterdam tips video, and they offered me a discount. It was OneFit, actually. So I'll just give them a shout out. OneFit is like ClassPass for the Netherlands. And I didn't even tell them they were in the video. They just found it somehow and emailed me. So now I get free workout classes this week. That's cool. I am here for a week, and then I fly to Florida on April 1st, and I'll be there for over a month, and then I'm back in Europe again in mid-May. So that is the plan for now. Okay, so Tech Lords and Larry. Okay, you guys, if you both agree on this, I might have to just keep one channel. I did a live stream yesterday on if I should have 2 YouTube channels. And now that I've started looking into it, I'm noticing how many people have multiple channels. But Tech Lords thinks 1 is enough unless you have more than 1 video per day. I hope that you're right, because I don't want to have 2 channels. I want to just have 1 channel. And Larry agrees. So yeah, I'll do some more research. I just did a little bit today, but I need to do some more this week. So hopefully it will just be 1, but we'll see. I've seen like both answers, so either one could be right. But I was going to talk about today how to find non-tech jobs as a digital nomad, because there seems to be, it's like a misconception, but it also is a valid one, that most jobs for digital nomads have to be in technical fields like programming or development or web design or something very techy, tech support, things like that, database administration, all the jobs that I definitely don't know how to do. And it's not necessarily true. There's a lot of other ways that you can be a digital nomad without being like a techie type of person at all. And then even if you're not a tech person, there's now so many different apps and features and programs that you could even offer design services without even really being a graphic designer. I mean, there's apps for creating videos, for creating social media posts, for creating, what do you call it? Like those like illustrations for, I forget the word for it, But there's basically templates for like anything that you want to design now. So things that used to be super difficult to create that only experienced graphic designers could do it, for example, now you can just kind of teach yourself and do it yourself without having all of those sorts of coding skills or graphic design skills or things like that. So in one case, you could actually acquire skills that like 10 years ago it was really hard to do these things, but now all of the techie people have created ways for non-tech people to create content and to create websites and things online. So you could also work in those fields without being super techie. But Fiverr, yeah, Fiverr is a good place. Transcription is easy and not so techy. Yeah, there's actually a lot of jobs that you could do without being a technical person. And on remote job sites, there are actually non-tech categories usually. And these jobs are typically teaching, transcription for sure would be on there, writing jobs, and customer service and support jobs. There's a lot. Let me check on, let's see. I'll go to one of the sites now. But before spending a lot of time job hunting, like if you are looking to become a digital nomad, the first thing that you want to do is decide what nature of work you would like to be in. So just considering the job that you have now, and if you are transitioning to becoming a remote worker or nomadic, if you want to maintain that style of job that you already have. So typically the main categories are going to be a regular employed job or a self-employment in some way, shape, or form, be it consulting or freelance or contract work or part-time work or something like that, or starting your own business that would be remote or online in some way. And then there's some areas that kind of overlap where, of course, you can have multiple income streams, or you can do something like if you are using like a personal brand, working as like an influencer or something like that, or on a social media level, you can have that sort of presence and then you can monetize it in different ways. So it's really about deciding what type of work you want to do before worrying about finding a job. So if you are working in marketing, for example, you would want to decide if when you go remote, do you want to still have a marketing job that's full time, or do you want to work in a different capacity by offering freelance services or starting your own marketing company, something like that? Because those are going to take all different levels of energy and investment, maybe different levels of risk, different levels of reward, but it's also going to tell you where you should start looking for work and how you're going to transition. So if you're thinking of just working for yourself and doing consulting, then you don't need to bother with looking for full-time jobs. But if you just want to test out working remotely without spending a lot of time developing a new company or a new brand and going out and looking for clients, then it could be a really fast way to go from a traditional job to remote by looking for like remote jobs that are already in your field. And those can be either with fully remote companies or with partially remote companies or with traditional companies that sometimes offer remote jobs. So I did a few videos on where to find remote jobs in general, and I can link to those in the description. But also I was gonna look for some non-tech jobs just to give you guys some examples. Oh, I can't share my screen on here. Let's see. Oh, Angel is here as well. Okay, see you later. Adios. He came to say hi. Hi and bye. Oh, interesting. Larry recommends fixing broken English on menus and signs things locally while traveling, and you can get some freebies. That's a good idea because I always see a lot of really funny signs and menus. And I actually never considered telling them that because I thought it would be rude, but I didn't think of it as like a potential source of income. One of my friends wanted to make a book about that, like all the funny signs that we see traveling. Hey, Walt. Trader Walt is here. Hello. We're talking about how to find non-tech nomadic jobs. And like the proof is in the pudding because I'm not a technical person at all. I don't think. But I have been nomadic for a long time. So, and it also could be, before I was nomadic, I was an expat. So I was working abroad in real estate in a physical capacity, but it still allowed me to set my own hours and set my own schedule and travel around. So you could still find work that's semi-nomadic or that just gives you more flexibility in general. It doesn't have to be completely remote. So some of the jobs that I'm seeing on this site, I'm on Remote OK, which is owned by Levels, who runs Nomad List. And some of the non-tech jobs they have here are user support specialists, product marketing specialists, head of communication, customer success agent, freelance writing, email marketing, lots of writing jobs, lots of marketing jobs, lots of support jobs. Virtual assistant jobs, also super popular in this category. Community management jobs, social media jobs. And let's see what else. There's a travel support agent role here, recruiting roles, so HR roles, management roles. You can get a lot of project management jobs, sales jobs. There's a website testing job here, head of people operations. English as a second language, so a lot of teaching jobs, translation, languages. Yeah, so there should be, for everybody, it's going to be different, but with the amount of remote websites out there right now, I would recommend looking at them just to even get some ideas and inspiration for the types of non-tech jobs that you can get. So big websites, including even like Indeed has, I think, a non-tech category. Who else? Flex Jobs, I believe, has a non-tech category. And then if you're in like a more creative capacity, which is somebody in my Facebook group was talking about how he feels like it's harder for him because he's doing creative and artistic jobs that don't lend themselves so obviously to remote work compared to the very straightforward like tech programming jobs. But there are websites that are specifically for creative remote jobs. So anything from Pro Blogger, which is a job to get writing jobs, to Dribble, which is a remote website job forum for creatives and artists. Or you can go to websites like Design Crowd or freelancing sites to find those types of jobs. And let's see what else. Hey, Darren. There's another, I don't want to lose my train of thought. But there's also, in my book, I found some more. Let me see. Nodesk, nodesk.co has a category for creative jobs. And there's also one called Authentic Jobs and one called Crop, KROP.com, creative jobs from writing to animation to art direction and more. And then there's a whole host of different writing websites. And then you can start to find different sources of jobs. So you can go, get like a full-time remote job, but then you can also, let's say you're a writer, you can take on like a part-time or a contract work job. You can start your own business. You can do freelancing. You can also get paid, for example, in the Medium Partner Program. So you can get revenue from articles that you publish if you submit them through the partner program instead of to publications. So then it's like the more you write, the more you make. So you can start to build a lot of different revenue streams. That way you can reach out to your personal network for work as well. So if you are a non-technical person and you want to be a digital nomad, don't be dismayed, because these are a lot of options and there's also many more. But just to start off with, like to recap, you can look at non-tech opportunities on remote job boards, or you can start your own business or start offering your services individually on a consulting basis, and just think about what you can do with the job that you currently have and how you can adjust some things so that you can work remotely and have a little bit more freedom and flexibility. Walt says bartending. I don't know if bartending is necessarily a remote job, but there's probably like, you know what, you could get like really creative with this. Like if you're a bartender and you want to become a digital nomad, you can start your own social media brand about bartending. You can go to companies. Like I had a friend who worked for these liquor distributors, and she traveled all around doing like liquor taste testings and things like that. So you can try to get sponsors. You can create like a YouTube channel or an Instagram or something where you teach people how to make drinks. You can write a book. You can like find a new angle on that. You can create your own merch. Like the salt guy, the cooking guy. Like you could go viral like that. I mean, then you can monetize in a lot of different ways. You can just be retired, as Tech Lord says. But also with bartending, like you can like find a niche, and while you're traveling, like you can offer your services at like private parties or events or things like that. So there's a lot of ways that you can take a job that like traditionally bartending, you would have to go work in the same bar or restaurant every single day, and you can actually make that into a remote job. And I have a video on that, on how to convert your job to a remote job. I will need to go back through this and then link to everything after. Larry says, unlike America, where waiting tables is a plan B, it's considered a well-paid profession elsewhere, so it isn't that easy to get. Yeah, I mean, waiting tables would be hard to do remotely, but you could do it seasonally in certain places. But the problem is that in a lot of different countries, like if you're from a Western country and you're used to getting paid waiting by tips when you wait tables, then if you go to another country where tipping isn't common, and you might be earning the local wage if you can get a work permit, etc. And like in Costa Rica, for example, it's like $2 an hour, but the tipping there is 10% or less. And sometimes the waiters don't even get the tips. So you just end up working really hard for less money than you're used to getting if you did that in your home country. Well, it says, oh, bookkeeper or accountant. That is a really good job that lends itself well to working remotely. And in that case, I actually know quite a few accountants who have left like big four accounting firms and started their own businesses. And the good thing about being a bookkeeper or an accountant is you have built in recurring revenue streams because people need bookkeeping services every month. So unlike like my business model, for example, um, where I do relocations, so I'm always doing different functional areas at the same time. So the project management with the sales, with advertising and marketing, with social media, because once I relocate people, then they're done. They're relocated. So I don't have that like um, recurring leads or like recurring income. It's like every time I'm building new business for the month, then it's gone again. So as an accountant, that's a service people need monthly and they need it annually for their taxes. So if you spend your time like over time, you will generate a bigger business. Like you can actually grow a business and you can get momentum as long as you're doing a good job. Oh, yes, TaskRabbit. Yeah, there are some really good websites for that too. I think I have that here. Let me see. I think it's in a different chapter. But I found some really interesting websites. Where are they? This is the longest chapter on jobs, guys. No, where are they? I can't remember it, but there's TaskRabbit. There's a few other sites. It's going to annoy me. I'll have to find it later. But yeah, there's basically sites where you can do small tasks or chores or errands, or you can contribute your expertise on a very short-term contract basis and just make extra money pretty quickly that way. Yeah, you can apply for seasonal work in different places like local hotels, restaurants, and other establishments, but the it could like you could end up being in a gray area as far as if you need a work permit or not. And you might not make a very livable wage. It just depends. But I know plenty of people who have become digital nomads by doing super unconventional things. I have a friend who is a skipper on a boat. So he had no sailing experience and he got his certification. And now he just works seasonally in different hemispheres. So during the summer, he'll be in Greece and Croatia and the Mediterranean. And in the winter, he'll be in Australia. So he'll do like charters and things like that. Larry says online poker. Yes, that's one. I don't know what category that fits into because it's like technical, but not. Okay, and Walt has been an accountant on Upwork for a year, so he's starting to make it work with a steady stream. One of my accounting friends said she can take like up to 100 clients at a time, but then it's like she needs to hire more people to help. Digital, aka David, is here. Just found your channel. I happen to work in IT, and there are many jobs where remote isn't a problem, like support or software development. Cool. Well, it's like 100 clients. OMG. Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know if she sleeps. Yeah, she does. I don't know how she does it though. Maybe they're not all at the same time. So welcome, David. Yeah, there are a lot of jobs where being remote isn't technically a problem, but the company just not might be might not be on board culturally for allowing remote work or work from home, but I expect that to change in the next few years very, very rapidly because people are demanding it, and there's going to reach like a tipping point where everyone has to offer it or they just aren't going to get the best people. So I think that it's kind of a temporary problem, but maybe it won't spread as fast as I think, but if any companies are not on board with remote work, I think they're going to feel a negative impact. So there are different categories. Like you can find remote jobs at fully distributed companies or at partially remote companies where like maybe a part of the workforce is remote. And then you can also find them at traditional companies that might not be categorized as remote companies whatsoever. They might not have any connection with like remote work industry or remote work websites or jobs. But they might offer a few jobs kind of not under the table, but like there could be like major corporations that seem very traditional that actually offer remote positions, but they just aren't that well advertised. So there are some lists though that I can link you guys to of companies that are hiring remotely, and I have that. I just found that earlier actually. I was looking it up for a different project. Let's see. Now I probably won't be able to find it. Where is it? I have way too many tabs open and live streams at the same time. Okay. Found it. Nope, where is it? Okay. So I found these two links with remote companies. One is Flex Jobs, which is one of the biggest sites for remote jobs. And then one is No Desk, and No Desk has a creatives and artistic jobs category for any non-tech people. And so there's some lists of companies that are remote companies. But again, you can find remote jobs at non-remote companies too. David was spending time in the Azores. Oh, nice. Oh, due to family health? Okay, so you are allowed to spend time with your family and log in remotely to work. Okay. And besides a few people that you worked with, no one knew you were remote. Yes, that is another thing. If you can keep the same hours, right, because the Azores doesn't have a very far time zone from Eastern time, that I think that's always a free roll. Like if you already have a job, you might as well analyze your job yourself and see if you think it could be done remotely. And if you don't see any hurdles to it, or even if you do, you could just talk to your managers or superiors about doing that. And sometimes they can do it covertly because they don't want everyone to ask to go to be remote, but there could be a way to do it where you can get kind of like the special go ahead. And I actually wrote a blog on how to do that, and I have a video on how to do that. And I will post that here. Oh, I have a lot of Medium notifications. Like 100 notifications. Notifications everywhere. And then I have a video on how to convince your boss to let you work remotely. So I'll post to that too in the live chat. Let's try to find it. I now have so many videos, I have to search for them. Okay. Share link. It's gonna start going. Okay. Here it is. Thank you, Tech Lords. It's my Patreon link, guys. Guys, should I keep this channel ad-free? I have to make all these decisions. Am I gonna have one channel or two channels or three channels? Should I want to keep it ad-free, I think. I don't like ads. I think we can do it through Patreon, and then I'll like offer some courses and my books. I think we can do it because I want to keep doing it. Okay, does anyone else have any questions on how to on how to find non-tech remote jobs? Well, it says one channel ad-free, one monetized. I just think that YouTube like not devalues, but they just don't value the views that much. So they're not paying that much for each view. Larry says, make money, take ads. These are things I need to think about this. I've been monetized now for months. I just haven't monetized anything. Like I think once you hit 1,000 subscribers, you can be monetized. And I'm almost at 2,000. That is super exciting. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Let me see. I did notice that today. We're at 1,974 subscribers. So it seems like just yesterday we were at 1,000. So that's super cool. Hi, Carly. I don't make money off ads at the moment because I don't have any ads. Tech Lord says follower support better. Yeah, I need to I need to ramp up my perks and my Patreon page. And I owe you a video too. I didn't want to film any welcome videos with my black eye. But Tech Lords posted my link there. Yeah, I prefer follower support and maybe using some videos as like a funnel to some courses or books or products or things like that. Larry, subscribe from all of your accounts. What are you doing? Someone said the other day they would, I think it was Darren. He was like, I'll subscribe to all 10 of your channels, which is awesome. As they used to say in Chicago, vote early, vote often. I didn't know that. Is that a thing? Where can you vote early and often? Carly is thinking of going remote too, aren't you, Carly? Yes, I sent those links. Those are like 200 companies right there. There are really a lot of opportunities out there, but I don't know if I necessarily believe in some of these companies, like ability to hire the right people remotely. Like I studied human resources and international HR, and I don't know. I think a lot of the leads on these sites are kind of dead, but also with remote jobs, you're not sure exactly how the companies are filtering. So there was a tool that I found the other day where you can actually test your resume and your cover letter to make sure that it has enough keywords that match with the job description, because sometimes you just need like a certain score to even get through to the recruiters. So there are some tricks for that. Larry's from Brooklyn. Nice. My cousin was living there and now she moved to Stockholm. Ah, I love Brooklyn and Chicago. Last time I was in Chicago, though, it was February and it was too cold. Yes, Carly, I can totally see you and your dog just like living in Italy or Switzerland or something. You have so many skills that can be done remotely. I'm sure your job currently can basically be done remotely. That's the issue is that a lot of jobs could be remote, but the companies just haven't wrapped their heads around it yet, or they have a lot of objections to it. So, yeah, check out the video and the blog on how to convince your boss to let you work remotely. And I hope that's helpful. And this week, I got to finish reading my book so it can be edited and published. And then it's going to be like the digital nomad Bible. I can't wait. I can't wait until it's like actually in presentable edited form. Carly says at the Goog, it's all dependent on your manager if they would let you do it, but for the most part, they would say no. I actually just saw an article like a few weeks ago that was saying that Google is now like one of the biggest remote remote employers. At midnight, my brain turns off apparently, but they said that I think it's mostly like not their US based employees. I think they're hiring a lot of like remote contract workers from other countries. So I think most of their like traditional employees are not remote, but they were like stealth mode hiring remote workers while telling their full-time employees that they couldn't work remotely. So that's a bit shady, allegedly. David said put the keywords in white to get high scores on automated systems. Do you think that, oh, you mean like, I don't know if that would work if it's like a PDF that you're uploading. Do you think that these recruiting tools are like SEO of the 90s? That would be so weird. Your boss would say no. Yeah, so many objections. Well, my video is only 10 minutes. The article's kind of long, but it has a lot of good info. But I think they're rational arguments, very reasonable. But if you're dealing with an unreasonable boss, then you're just screwed. That's when you need to quit. Because sometimes the path of least resistance is just getting a new job with a company that already embraces the concept of remote work, so you don't have that uphill battle of trying to convince them to let you work remotely. It's like they're already on board with it, so it can become easier to find a new job in your industry rather than convince your current employer to let you go remote. And I mean, that's a shame because but that's what's going to happen is these companies are going to lose really good people because they're too hard-headed. You heard it here first. That's another thing I want to do is consult with companies to help teach them about the benefits of remote work, because I think that could make a big impact, helping on both sides of the aisle, shall we say, employers and employees. Because if I can help change the minds of one company or change the policies of one organization, then that can affect hundreds or thousands of employees. In addition to like helping people one-on-one, who want to do it on their own terms. Okay, that's a good point, David, to send it as a Word doc instead of a PDF because some of the automated systems can't scan them. The book will bring nice residual revenues. Tech Lord says, I mean, that would be great, but I heard that books don't make that much money. For me, it's been a lifelong goal to write a book. I think I'm going to write a lot more. I think the first one's the hardest one. I would love to just be a writer. I just want to be a content creator. I want to write and talk and make videos. But the book needed to be written. I've been thinking about this book for like 4 years. It just took me a long time to learn how to write it, like how to actually write a book. But it's been very good to organize all of the information into a book, like That's the hardest part. It's not knowing what to put in it, it's how to structure it and how to organize it. And so I'm really excited because I hope that it helps a lot of people. I hope that it's interesting too. Put some stories in there. Viterica says, do JPEG. we have we have a wide range of opinions on how to upload your resume to a remote job site. I love it. Good debate going here. Oh, yes, there's a employer liability insurance for remote workers. Well, yeah, companies do need to have, they're going to have insurance anyway, but I think that they are saving a lot more money on their overhead costs when they have remote workers because they don't need, with a physical headquarters is the most expensive part of a company. So if they even get, even if they give remote workers perks, which they should, for learning and development or subsidized co-working memberships or things like that, they're still saving a lot of money just not having those physical bodies in the office. No coffee, no real estate, no utilities. You get higher productivity when your workers are remote. Yeah, you don't have to pay for any of their stuff. So I actually know of companies that don't even require a resume. They just have you pass a test. Quick question from Darren. Do you normally just Airbnb a place when you're traveling and then find a rental agency for an apartment or call ahead of time? If I'm going it depends on how long I'm going for, but usually I'm finding my place ahead of time or I'm lining up appointments for the first or second day that I get there. So I'll just get a hotel for a night or so and look at places in person. Or I get a connection somehow through someone in my network or I guess Facebook groups. But I mean, that's my line of work. So I do just tends to be pretty easy for me to find places because I've done thousands of property searches in my life. But yeah, I would recommend if you're staying in a place for months that you probably want to see it in person and don't book too far in advance and don't book for too long. I have a friend who just booked a place sight unseen for a year and paid it up front. And then she got there and she didn't like it. So yeah, just do that. Like last time when I was in Bulgaria, the last 2 times I was there, I looked at the places in person and it was a lot better. Oh, interesting. So David was sending in his resumes as PDFs, and then he changed to document format, and he started getting calls. So the software they were using wasn't scanning his PDF, which you would think that they would specify that so they don't waste their time. Vitaricus is doubling down on JPEG. Sight unseen. Yeah. I mean, sight unseen is okay. I help people rent places sight unseen, but I usually know the area so well because I live there already and I know a lot of the buildings and neighborhoods. But if you do need to find a place sight unseen, there are some ways that you can increase your chances of getting a good spot. So if it's not a verified listing, for example, you can hire somebody like from Craigslist or tour guide companies or TripAdvisor or something like that. You can hire somebody to go look at it for you and take photos. There's also companies, there's one in London, where you can pay the company to go and take video for you. You can also cross-check, like Google the places, Google reviews, look at websites like WalkScore so you can find out how the location is. So it's really good. Even though it's not accurate in every country, it's pretty accurate. And then, of course, make sure that your payment method is secure, like not sending cash or Western Union or something, that it's like a credit card or PayPal or something that you can dispute it if something goes wrong, or just put the deposit in a refundable way and then pay the rest when you get there. I think a Google Doc would work, Carly. Yeah. I mean, that's actually a good way of, I think that would be a good way of submitting your resume. It also depends on the site. Like a lot of remote job sites, they will just link back to the company, to the original job listing. And some of them you can actually apply online. So sites like AngelList, for example, you can usually apply directly through the site. That Remote OK website is so basic that it just, like when you click apply, it just opens up like an email that says like, I would like to apply for this job, which, you know, you probably don't want to send that email. You probably want to structure your own, but it just depends on the format that each company will let you apply through. And then some of them are applying through like a third party recruiting website or something like that. But yeah, I also like those sites like TopTal, and there's a few other ones where you can get, basically, you can create a profile and you can get pre-approved as like a qualified top 1% in your field at whatever that is, as like a freelancer basically, but you can get actually matched with full-time jobs that way too. Tech Lord says his son is a public servant and he works 1 day a week remotely. So he works 4 days a week on site and 1 day remotely, government job. I actually also read that the US government is one of the biggest remote employers, which I didn't know. I always envisioned those jobs as being in person, but things are changing. You know, when the government's on board, that it's finally becoming for the masses. Mm-hmm. All right. Cool, guys. I'm going to go to sleep now because it's getting late. Walt lives in DC. Oh, yeah. So you know about the government jobs. Good crowd tonight, everyone. Thanks for coming by. Carly and Tech Lords and Angel and Larry and Walt, David, newbie, welcome. And whoa, I just zoomed in a lot. Anyone else here? Darren's here. Very cool. Oh yeah, that's good too, Larry. Yeah, that's, if you go stay at it can be a double-edged sword. If you go stay at a hostel and you go around asking for advice, you can get some good local tips, but also sometimes they can send you on a wild goose chase. So you can also check, I like hood maps on Nomad List. They have hood maps so you can see like which area you're in. And also ask questions. Always ask a lot of questions. Like I make people send me speed test screenshots and I ask about construction next door, and I ask like about like the mattress and the bed. Like I ask about everything. I ask what, if they can send me an inventory list. I ask like what's in the kitchen, what kind of linens and stuff. So that way you just have a record of everything and they have to answer. And that can actually help you secure so that you know what you're getting so you don't show up and they're like, oh yeah, you were supposed to bring your own pillows and things like that. So yeah, just ask a lot of questions. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Good night, Carly. You're welcome for the Bulgaria videos. I think you should nomad there if you have the opportunity. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna have like a whole Bulgaria playlist soon. Larry's final tip for traveling is respect. Different is just different. Be interested, be interesting. That is a great tip to leave off with. Oh yeah, Bulgaria prices. Check out my apartment tours. All right, guys. Good night. Hasta mañana. I will post the time of the live stream tomorrow, and we have some exciting stuff planned this week. I'm trying to get the people from Common Grounds co-working memberships to come on the stream. They have a really cool setup where you can pay one fee and you can access like a ton of co-working spaces, and some of them are even free. So lots going on this week, but I will post as an update on YouTube so you'll know what the time is for each day. Bye for now.